stretch me too far. You might wake up screaming in the trunk of my car. Loosen up my screws. Time to light my fuse. I'm going on a rampage. Mayhem disarray. I'm going on a rampage. So you best get out my way. Get out my way. You heard me. Excuse me a minute, mister. Say that's a nice truck. Speed freak whipping up a twister. I don't give a sickened up my herd and now I'm ready to cull. I might just do a square dance on the back of your skull. Loosen up my screws. Time to light my fuse. I'm going on a rampage. Mayhem disarray. I'm going on a rampage. So you best get out my way. I'm going on a rampage. Mayhem disarray. I'm going on a rampage. So you best get out my way. Oh, get loose. Woo. Come on now. Loosen up them screws. When I get in my car and drive, there ain't nobody left alive. When I get in my car and drive, there ain't nobody left alive. I'm going on a rampage. Mayhem disarray. I'm going on a rampage. So you best get out my way. I'm going on a rampage. Mayhem disarray. I'm going on a rampage. So you best get out my way. Get out my way. Get out my way. Rampage. Yeah.
Been dreaming I'd get in. That been dreaming I'd get in. Been dreaming I'd get in. Been dreaming I'd get in.
Alright, greetings Commanders and welcome to yet another live stream. Today we are taking a tour of Seoul as a start to the Permit Tours series I think we're going to be starting. As I put it in the description, as I started climbing the ranks of Federation, I started getting quite a handful of these permit lock systems, so I figured it might be a cool little idea to take a trip and hang out, take a tour of the system, check out any sites, learn any lore there might be to be had around these systems, and there's maybe any reason as to why these are permit locked. Well, as I said, we're going to be touring Seoul today, the birthplace of humanity. Today I've got Deadly with me, a member of PAP.
Yo, what's up?
Deadly is currently venturing out to find Voyager 1 for us so that we can just lock onto him and make the easy route. Thank you, Deadly. We definitely appreciate your service, sir.
This is
anyways. So yeah, so the way this is going to work, we're going to go ahead and visit each major body in the system and each system that we pass or go to in the system tours. For this live stream, like I said, we're going to be touring Seoul. And future live streams are going to be taking a trip to different locations. But the main format is we're going to be visiting the major locations, planets within the systems. I've compiled notes via voice to text about these particular locations. Really quick before we get started, guys, I'd really like to throw out a big thank you and credit to those that are helping to put the information in Elite Dangerous Wiki fandom. A lot of really interesting information. They do a great job of compiling lore, anything there is to know about pretty much everything Elite Dangerous. I put down the links and in the description down below for the Wiki fandom and also the text-to-speech program, or actually a website that I ended up using to put together the notes, so it's a little bit more entertaining for you guys. Let's go with that. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So to start us off, we're actually going to be, let me get back into my cockpit here, heading off to, oh gosh, I can do this, Mercury first. Let's go ahead and
Ship detach complete. Clear for egress.
see if I can make it out the station. I can do it. Squeeze. No matter if it's a Beluga or a Type 9 or a Type 2, it's still going to get stuck somehow, some way. Let's go kick down the volume a bit. Alright guys, so for the majority of this live stream, I'm actually going to go ahead and turn down, actually mute myself and Deadly so that you guys can hear the notes that are in text-to-speech without us interrupting you guys. So.
Safe travel, Commander.
Earth. Mercury. Metal-rich worlds like this have a large metallic core, with plentiful metallic cores even at the surface. In places, especially around areas past a current volcanism or liquid erosion, some higher metals can be found in their elemental form too. Mining is therefore very efficient, so these worlds are highly valued. In-game description. Mercury is a hot, airless, metal-rich planet and the closest to the star Sol. While not the hottest planet in the solar system, it experiences the greatest temperature variation out of all the planets due to its lack of an atmosphere. On the star-facing side of Mercury, temperatures can reach a searing 801 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead, while on the dark side it can reach a frigid -279 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to turn a human being into a living ice cube. It has no atmosphere, so can be landed on in elite dangerous horizons. There are 3 surface ports on the planet's surface: Waltz Depot, Hillage City, Furukawa Enterprise. The Orbis Station Daedalus orbits it. Venus. A metal-rich world with a metallic core. Worlds like this can have metallic cores near the surface in places, especially around areas of past volcanism. In-game description. Venus is the second and hottest planet in the Solar System. While the planet is just barely within the habitable zone, Venus is the most inhospitable place in the whole system. Its temperature can reach a scalding 870 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead. Unlike Mercury, Venus' temperature is constant due to its runaway greenhouse effect, which has placed 93 atmospheres of carbon dioxide in its toxic cloud layers, which rains sulfuric acid onto the extremely dry surface. If a human were to stand on Venus, they would be instantly suffocated, poisoned, burned and crushed all at the same time. Over 1,000 years before the construction of Bernal Station, Venus was mainly visited by robotic probes. The first visitors included the Venerlanders, the Pioneer Venus, the Magellan, the Venus Express, and the Akitsuki. There had been plans for a manned flyby of the planet using surplus Apollo ships in the mid-1970s, but this, along with most of the Apollo Applications Program (AAP), was scrapped due to budget cuts and the decision to focus on the Space Shuttle. Earth. An outdoor world with a human breathable atmosphere and indigenous life. The atmosphere is far from chemical equilibrium as a result. In-game description. Earth is the home world of the human species, located in the solar system. It is the third planet of the system, orbiting at precisely 1 astronomical unit from its parent star, a G2V main sequence star known as Sol, or simply the Sun. Contrary to popular belief, Earth is not the Federation's capital, that is Mars. Earth is the largest of the system's terrestrial and rocky bodies. The planet and its single moon were born from an accretion disk that existed during the solar system's formation, which happened around 4.5 billion years ago. It has one natural satellite, known simply as the Moon, or less commonly as Luna. Cradle of humanity. The planet Earth is the cradle of humanity. As such, it has experienced times of terrible destruction, through war and ecological disaster. Since the 22nd century, humanity has expanded from its home into the stars, and with much of the damage the planet's ecosphere had suffered has since been repaired. The planet is now a popular travel destination and is a lush and vibrant world. History. Formation. Earth formed around 4.5 billion years ago, at the same time the Solar System was formed. Sol, then a Tauri star on its way to becoming a yellow dwarf, possessed a massive disk surrounding it called an accretion disk, full of gas and dust particles left over from its violent birth. At least 100 planets were formed from this huge disk, one of them is Earth. Today, the Solar System has 9 planets, but a lot of the planets formed during the system's formation were captured by the massive gravitational pull of huge planets like Jupiter and Saturn and became the natural satellites. When it formed, Earth was a violent world that consisted solely of searing molten lava and a toxic atmosphere. Thousands upon thousands of meteors and asteroids rained from the sky like fire, and life could simply not exist. It was a vision of hell itself. Even an entire planet, called Theia, collided with Earth at some point during its formation, forming Earth's large moon. Over 1 billion years after its formation, things settled down. The planets all moved into their respective orbits, and Earth was no longer a fiery, hellish world. By now, Earth was a volcanic water world, possessing simple microbial life beneath its vast oceans. The atmosphere consisted of nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and small amounts of oxygen. It was on its way to becoming a haven for life. Over 6 mass extinction events, billions of years and several ice ages, Earth eventually became the recognizable human-dominated world with 7 continents and the human-friendly atmosphere we know today. Rise of humanity. Humans have been roaming the planet for at least 200,000 years, though the first humans were much like other animals. They had a scattered, tribal society that emerged on the continent of Africa, and humans back then spoke very little forms of language, instead relying on grunting, growling and other such animal sounds. Large-scale colonization and tool use did not begin until about 15,000 years ago, when humanity first mastered the art of agriculture. It is thought that structured, intelligent communication also began at around this point. Over the next few thousand years, the human species advanced and developed more sophisticated tools and survival techniques. They colonized more and more areas of the planet, and the first cities arose during the 3rd millennium BCE. One of the most famous empires of ancient Earth was the Roman Empire, which developed some of the most sophisticated technologies that are still in use even today. The Romans invented things such as aqueducts, underfloor heating, and the calendar. The Roman Empire collapsed in the year 410 with the sack of Rome, causing a period known as the Dark Ages. Human civilization continued and advanced, but it wasn't until the 20th century that the real story of humanity began. The 20th century. The 20th century was both the greatest and most horrifying age in human history. Nearly 100 million humans died from the first 2 world wars, some of the largest wars ever waged. The First World War began in 1914 and ended in 1918 CE, resulting in 37 million deaths. The Second World War was even worse, beginning in 1939 and ending in 1945, resulting in over 60 million deaths. The end of the Second World War was brought about by the use of deadly nuclear weapons, capable of destroying entire cities in a single blow. Huge technological advancements were made during the course of these wars, such as the invention of the radar and radio communications. Many inventions made in the 20th century are still in use today, such as the computer, long-range missiles, nuclear weapons, the television, aeroplanes, and spacecraft. The space age. One of the greatest achievements ever made by the human species came in 1961 CE. Humans became a spacefaring species. A man called Yuri Gagarin left Earth's atmospheres in a Vostok 1 capsule, the first ever ship to fly in space. Two nations on Earth, the United States and the Soviet Union, vied for supremacy over this new environment by developing more and more sophisticated spaceflight technology. This period was known as the space race. Nations from all over the planet had been inspired by Yuri Gagarin's flight, but the United States and the Soviet Union were the only two that rushed to develop newer and better technologies to make it easier to go into space. A year after Vostok 1 flew, the United States announced a highly ambitious plan to develop a manned spacecraft that could land on Earth's moon, and that they would do it by the end of the decade. And they succeeded. In 1969 CE, a breakthrough was made in human spaceflight. NASA, the United States' main spaceflight body, created the Saturn V, the largest and most powerful ship humanity had ever built. In July 1969, the Saturn V launched towards the Moon, carrying astronauts Neil Armstrong, Edwin, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins. As frame-shift drives did not exist back then and the Saturn V could only reach a speed of 10 kilometers per second, it took the men 3 days to reach the destination. Once they reached lunar orbit, the lander on board the Saturn V detached and landed on the lunar surface. Neil Armstrong was the first man to step on an extraterrestrial body, and as he did so, he famously uttered the words, "One small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." After a day of collecting samples and performing scientific experiments on the Moon, the 3 astronauts returned to Earth and were hailed as heroes. Several more landings were conducted in the Apollo program, which ended in 1972 CE. Landings on Mars were also planned, but they did not come to fruition until the 2070s. In the 1970s CE, the first ever space station was built, Salyut 1. It was tiny and could hold no more than a few people, but getting a habitat into space was a major breakthrough. More stations, such as Skylab and Mir, were built. The most sophisticated station of the era, however, was the ISS. The ISS was still quite tiny compared to the stations in the galaxy today, and it could only hold a population of 6. Nonetheless, it became the hub of human spaceflight until it was eventually deorbited and decommissioned. Stations back then did not have landing pads. Instead, ships docked at the station by using docking ports mounted on both the ship and the station. The first private spaceflight corporations began to appear in the 21st century. Corporations such as SpaceX and Reaction Engines developed their own innovative spacecraft in order to try and dramatically reduce the cost of reaching space, developing ships like the Dragon MKI and Skylon. The first commercial space station was also launched in the 2020s. Human technology had started to become more sophisticated and advanced than ever before, but technology needs something to power it. In the 2030 SCE, Earth underwent a major energy crisis as fossil fuel reserves dwindled. Even as spaceflight technology evolved, long-term missions to faraway destinations such as Mars and the asteroid belt to get resources were still out of reach. Restrictions on fossil fuels were imposed, causing unrest between the nations of Earth. The population continued to rise and humanity became increasingly desperate for resources. The first baby to be born off-world was born in the 2030s CE, however, causing a small glimmer of hope. In the 2040s CE, the Third World War started. Huge technological advancements were made during the Third World War, like the previous world wars before it, but not without a catastrophic loss of life and dreadful environmental damage caused by global thermonuclear war, the very same exchange feared since the 1950s CE. Many were in doubt about the human species' survival even after the war ended. Earth was gradually rebuilt and World War III turned out to be the last of the world wars. Hope was revitalized once more when a man set foot on Mars in the 2070s CE and the first lunar outposts were built. Humanity was expanding. Tourist Spot 0165. The Tourist Spot 0165 beacon chronicles the ancient history of the Federation and its influence on Earth. Mankind's first ventures into space were tentative and gradual. The early part of the 21st century saw the first manned space flights beyond the moon, but it took major population and economic problems to stimulate enough commercial commitment to start settlements beyond Earth. The Third World War saw this exploration expenditure dragged back again, and it wasn't until the very end of the 21st century that colonies on Mars and the Moon became truly permanent and viable. After the war, the dominant power was the United States of the Americas, and as the remaining other countries joined it over the next few decades. It was renamed the Federation of the United States and later the Federation, as the implied reference to one of the pre-war powers was a block to the remaining countries joining it. It had a constitution and laws derived from the earlier powers, but much simplified. Expansion into space. In the 2070s CE, a permanent moon base was constructed and a man landed on Mars, an inhospitable desert world, for the first time. The first starports were constructed in the 2080s, more manned missions were launched throughout the Solar System, and the first interstellar probes were launched towards systems such as Alpha Centauri and Barnard Star. Permanent bases on Mars and heavy industrialization of the Moon also began. Significant discoveries were made in the year 2100. Ancient life was discovered on Mars, and more importantly, the existence of hyperspace was confirmed. As humans started to dominate the Solar System, frame-shift drives were developed and put on probes which were sent to all nearby systems. As humans were destined to expand into the stars, the Federation was formed and all nations on Earth were unified. Mars was terraformed into an Earth-like planet in the 2200s and humans expanded out into interstellar space, creating colonies in systems like Tau Ceti. Humans continued to expand into space. Major powers arose. Wars were fought. Species went extinct, but humanity endured. Geography. 70% of Earth's surface is made up of liquid water, an ingredient essential to life. The remaining 30% is land, which is divided into 7 continents: Africa, Antarctica, Asia, Australia, Europe, North America, South America. Most of the planet's land area has been taken over by humans and their cities, but wild areas still remain. Earth's terrain is very diverse, featuring all kinds of biomes from snowy peaks to hot deserts. Earth is volcanically active and possesses plate tectonics, and hundreds of volcanoes dot the planet. The largest of these volcanoes is Mauna Loa, an enormous shield volcano in the Pacific Ocean. Most volcanoes on the planet erupt when its tectonic plates smash together, causing huge earthquakes. When an earthquake occurs, the pressure from the magma that has built up in the volcano for hundreds of years finally bursts open in a violent explosion, which can be devastating, and if the eruptions are large enough, it can blanket the entire planet in a thick cloud of ash and hot gas, causing temperatures to plummet. Fortunately, eruptions as significant as this are uncommon. Plant life smothers nearly everywhere on the ground. Grass is the most common and can be easily found in fields and plains. These plants are responsible for maintaining the planet's oxygen-rich atmosphere by absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen in a process called photosynthesis. Plant life is the most common type of life on Earth. They lack consciousness unlike most animal life but are living nonetheless. Atmosphere. Earth's atmosphere is composed primarily of nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide and water vapor. The composition of its atmosphere is essential to life, as all organic life on the planet relies on the nitrogen and oxygen to survive. Plant life relies on carbon dioxide so they can make their own food and maintain the oxygen in the atmosphere for animal life. Without an atmosphere, Earth would be uninhabitable and would have no oceans. The atmosphere of Earth has several layers. The layer closest to the surface is the troposphere, where air pressure is highest and the planet's rain and weather occurs. Above that is the stratosphere, where transplanetary aircraft usually fly in due to the reduced air resistance. In the stratosphere is the protective ozone layer, where the damaging radiation from Sol is absorbed. After the stratosphere is the freezing mesosphere, the altitude at which breathing apparatus is normally required. After the mesosphere is the thermosphere, where the atmosphere starts to merge with space, and the altitude at which a spacesuit is required. Then comes the outer exosphere, where most starports are located. Earth is also surrounded by an ionosphere, which is important for radio communications. Air pressure on Earth averages at around 1,000 millibars, or 1 atmosphere. The air pressure can fluctuate from place to place, but not by much. Humans are capable of surviving at higher and lower pressures, but the pressure on Earth is the desired amount as the species has evolved along with it. The white clouds that cover Earth are large clumps of water vapor which drift around in the skies and are responsible for causing the much maligned phenomenon known as rain, which is essential to plant life. Earth's high-gravity environment keeps the atmosphere from escaping into space. Starports: Abraham Lincoln, M. Gorbachev, Li Qingjiao. Mars. An outdoor world with a human-breathable atmosphere and indigenous life. The atmosphere is far from chemical equilibrium as a result. This planet has been terraformed. In-game description: Mars is the capital planet of the Federation. It was terraformed in 2286. The capital city, Olympus Village, houses the Federal Congress, which consists of 500 congressmen, a term for male and female members, and the White House. It replaced Washington, D.C. early in the third millennium. Olympus Village is in fact a sprawling metropolis. All major corporations have their headquarters on Mars in the Sol system. It's the main center for administration. Mars was of particular interest to humanity for many years. Before the Mariner 4 probe was launched, it was thought that the planet was inhabited by intelligent life, known as Martians. After Mariner 4 made a flyby in 1965 and the landing of the Viking landers in 1977, it was discovered that Mars was a barren, lifeless rock. Further robotic missions were launched, many of which failed to reach the planet for many reasons, giving rise to the notion of the Mars curse. Liquid water was finally discovered on the planet in 2015, but it would take until the 2070s for humans to set foot on the Red Planet, owing to government corruption, terrorism, and global war. Fossils were discovered on Mars in the 2100s. This proved that alien life once existed there. Non-human relic. In 2280, the first non-human relic was found in space. The object was found buried on Mars. It was no bigger than a child's hand and is still surrounded by secrecy, even in 3300. No information has ever been circulated as to the properties of this item or its origin, other than it is non-human. Second terraforming attempt. In 2291, the second attempt to terraform Mars was eventually successful. The techniques employed were crude by later standards and the project had taken nearly 100 years, but finally, humans could walk on the surface and breathe without the need for oxygen suits or respirators. Relocation. The Inara crisis had far-reaching consequences for the Federal Council. Earth's leadership had been unquestioned, but the mother planet was already undergoing a difficult period with the climate and radiation problems on Earth not improving, and yet Mars appearing ever more verdant and a more comfortable place to live. There was a general exodus of the rich and influential. The prospect of war with Inara required a strong hand. In time, the Federal Congress moved from Washington on Earth to Olympus Village on Mars, and this helped ease friction with other Federation members, as there was a consultation period where other systems were considered.
lost enigmas in the dust. I cannot remember, though they tell me that I must. Sky is torn asunder, fear that breaks the brave will not drag me under, climb out of the grave. Make a sign or faults divine, this mark of worth I wear. Hardened are these faithful scars I bear. Stand side by side, carry all as one, we can bear this weight. Stand side by side, we won't come undone, for the hands that will carry us home are touched by fate. Hold on to what you strive for. Hold on to what you fight for. Get up and fight.
Comes from clouds in Jupiter. Class 1 a Jovian gas. Jupiter. Class 1 a Jovian gas giants have primarily hydrogen and helium atmospheres. Coloration comes from clouds in the upper atmosphere of ammonia, water vapor, hydrogen sulfide, phosphine and sulfur. The temperature at the top of their upper cloud layers is typically less than 150 K. In-game description: Jupiter is the fifth and the largest planet in the Solar System. Jupiter is massive by planetary standards and is orbited by a network of nearly 70 natural satellites, one of which is larger than Mercury. Jupiter has a thin ring system and many storms rage on the planet's surface.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Saturn. Saturn is the sixth and lightest planet in the solar system. Saturn is famous for its prominent ring system which surrounds the gas giant, which is so light it would float in water. Two of Saturn's many moons are famous for how surprisingly habitable they are: Enceladus and Titan. Titan possesses a substantial atmosphere about as dense as Earth's and has liquid lakes of methane and ethane on its surface, and Enceladus has a life-supporting ocean of water beneath its icy surface which may contain life as we know it.
times they bought and sold us. Take back all the times they tried to forget us. Acting like they never met us. They see us, they hate us. The ugly faces of the kind that wish they never knew. They made us, betrayed us. The love they gave us, now we take it, nothing they can.
Uranus. Uranus is the seventh and coldest planet in the solar system. Temperatures on its surface, mainly composed of icy gases such as ammonia and methane, can reach an icy -371 degrees Fahrenheit. Uranus's extreme axial tilt of nearly 90 degrees means it orbits Sol on its side. It possesses a thin ring system, thinner than Saturn but thicker than Jupiter.
20% cooler.
because there's added swears.
Neptune. Neptune is the 8th and farthest planet in the solar system. Like Uranus, it is in a class of planets known as ice giants and is mainly composed of methane and ammonium ices. Neptune is a pristine gas giant with relatively little storms happening on its cold surface. Neptune, like all of Sol's gas giants, has many moons, but Triton is the largest and most prominent. Neptune has a ring system, although it is extremely thin, much thinner than Jupiter's. Pluto. Pluto is a dwarf planet in the Kuiper belt. It has rugged icy mountains and flat ice plains. Great blocks of Pluto's water ice crust are jammed together. The plains have rugged icy craters. Cryovolcanoes have been spotted on the surface.
I get back a flare my ignition. It's time to ride. When I need to feel alive, I just get in my car and drive. When life it starts to break my stride, I just get in my car and ride. From an open window and a stolen ride came a broken lift with a fallen bride, and now I walk beside psychotic guides to listen to their whines and maniacal cries. Worship the dollar and cent, white collar descent. You holler and vent over the most tiny moderate dent in your mountains of gold. Accounts that you hold, you end up an old young blood man. That fountain is cold. And I used to swear upon wisdom. You got brains to spare, you gotta give some. I kick back and flare my ignition. It's time to ride. And when I need to feel alive, I just get in my car and drive. When life it starts to break my stride, I just get in my car and ride. What you doing, what you doing, what you gonna do? What you doing, what you doing, what you gonna do? What you doing, what you doing, what you gonna do? What you doing, what you doing, what you gonna do? And when I need to feel alive, I just get in my car and drive. When life it starts to break my stride, I just get in my car and ride. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm gonna drive my blues away. Yeah, yeah. Gonna drive my blues away. Just another sunny day. When winter comes, when life is frozen, when the moors they hide away under the snow, fingers of doom will clutch the chosen. All beasts will shiver from the lion to the crow. When winter comes, when times are starkest, when the wailing of the wolves fades with the sun, the wilds are numb, the days are darkest, the fates of many cease to rest on only one. Walls will not hold the winter over and underground. Walls will not hold the winter. All in the way will fall. When winter comes, when thrones are idle, when the brave they cower under eyes of blue, the rising roar, the endless cycle, turns the darkest myths of yesterday to true. Walls will not hold the winter over and underground. Walls will not hold the winter. All in the way will fall. Walls will not hold the winter over and underground. Walls will not hold the winter. All in the way will fall.
Incoming mission critical message.
of the past come to trouble me. Out of time, I go running. As you're running out of time, storming forth I return. From the nothing, I am back to reclaim what's mine. Cast into darkest voids, ever waiting for the chime of the hand that two. Lost of a heart destroyed, circulated in the blind as they stand with you. Out of time, I go running. As you're running out of time, storming forth I return. From the nothing, I am back to reclaim what's mine. Keep the clocks running, keep every hammer drumming. Time will open the doors. Keep the clocks running, keep every hammer drumming. I'm coming back to the fore. Set the wheels, I'm coming back to the fore. Clockworks flicking, they link within. Locks and riddles of rings will spin. Cogwheels linking the springs and vents. Walls are closing in.
Sorry guys, bear with me a moment. Let me load back up into the game. It decided to just boot me out before we got there. So bear with me a moment.
Bad places, taking gifts of the darkest shrines. I have seen despair in the saddest faces. Now I'm back to reclaim what's mine. Keep the clocks running, keep every hammer drumming. Time will open the door. Keep the clocks running, I'm coming back to the fore. Set the wheels, I'm coming back to the fore. Keep the clocks running, keep every hammer drumming. Time will open the doors. Keep the clocks running, keep every hammer drumming. I'm coming back to the fore. Set the wheels, I'm coming back to the fore. There's the wheels on drifting over the shore. Set the wheels, I'm coming back to the fore. Military man with a heart of lead. I got a floating M4 sticking out of my head. Got a cacophonous captain always screaming at me. I got the Burger Town blues times infinity. I was the brightest in my unit, got the tightest of training. So why am I down on the range learning basic aiming? I guess I must have got my screws knocked loose in a fight, cause I don't even remember how to aim down sights. Now that the training is done, we're on the chopper to war. Captain Noisy is yelling and telling us what we're here for. The mission is critical, revolution political. I can question it, but I ain't feeling too analytical. Cause a dude on a rooftop with an RPG just sent us spinning around 360 degrees like a prepubescent and swiper on 10 sensitivity. I spin in circles with a bunch of dudes yelling at me. Cause I'm the shooter guy, the shooter guy. Laws of physics and logic need not apply. Yeah, I'm the shooter guy, the shooter guy. As long as I got my wall, I will never die.
360 no scope, triple collateral, guys. Oh my god! Headshot, bitch! I'm a sniper!
Now the world it is fading and my vision's degrading. Through slow motion I'm waiting with the bad guys invade. And look around in the blur and see the bodies and blood. Get control of my legs again and crawl through the mud. Snipers on ledges wearing bulletproof apparel. Why are these idiots standing next to those flammable barrels? Red containers of death, they make for easy kills. They must spend a fortune on the fuel bill. Got a secret vacuum cleaner from my shirt to my pants. Sucks up ammo off the floor straight into my hands. Just gotta walk over bodies now, I reveal when I kill. Teabag and necrotic face for homoerotic thrills. Take a rocket to the face and a shot to the balls. But it's okay, I got my good friend chest high wall. Hiding in cover behind my wall, I will hover. And in a couple of seconds I will be fully recovered. Cause I'm the shooter guy, shooter guy. Laws of physics and logic need not apply. Yeah, I'm the shooter guy, shooter guy. As long as I got my wall, I will never die. That's right. So now I'm riding the battle, explosions roar and they rattle. All of the grunts in my unit are getting slaughtered like cattle. Stupid morons keep on running down in front of my shots. Then they bitch at me for shooting them. Who programmed these bots? Just when I'm in the zone, the murder's becoming fun. Here comes a heavy armored chopper with the big minigun. I waste 1,000 freaking bullets and it's still not down. No look, a launcher's lying conveniently on the ground. Boom goes a rocket that I pull out of my pocket. Got an infinite stash and no armor's gonna block it. Now we got a locked door blocking the roof, but Captain Noisy has a key in the shape of his boot. We go sneaking in and peeking through the enemy base. Into the fire we race, bodies all over the place. Holding X is effective to achieve our objective. Get to the chopper is our final directive. I'm the shooter guy, shooter guy. Laws of physics and logic need not apply. Yeah, I'm the shooter guy, shooter guy. As long as I got my wall, I will never die. Cause I'm the shooter guy, shooter guy. I'm a walking, talking cliche, this I can't deny. Yeah, I'm the shooter guy, shooter guy. As long as I got my wall, I will never die. Middle class white kids rapping. It's so ghetto, ghetto. Middle class white kids rapping. It's so ghetto, ghetto.
Persephone. Persephone, also known as Planet 9 or Planet X, is 10 times the mass of Earth. Due to it being so distant and dim, it wasn't yet detected early in the 21st century. However, there was evidence of a large lurking planet written into the peculiar orbits of far-flung worlds, called extreme Kuiper belt objects. Many space agencies were fairly convinced that it existed. It lurks deep in the outer area of Sol. Persephone makes an exceptionally frigid and long period orbit around the Sun every 20,000 years. It's about 450,000 LS from the Sun.
cell unfolding. I am the spread. I am the first mutation. I wove the thread. I am the crash of oceans, the crush of slaves. I am the constant motion, the rush of waves. I am the voice of nature. I am the breeze. I am the dancing spirit between the trees. I am the pool of instinct, the primal need. I am the spark inside the technology. As you crash collide, I will be inside, connect you all with love. All outside, inside, around you. I am everywhere you go, you roam. Universal love has found you. To each other, to my blood and my bones. shade. Years they sleep inside a moment, wake up on a blade. Resist, remain, shaken from the still. Resist, remain, no more time to kill. Breaking out through the doors, is there nothing worth saving anymore? Split the pillars of war, is there nothing worth saving anymore? Hope is an ember in the dark. Spark of resistance will come on. Brothers burn the bonds of order, sisters slash the chains. Concrete titans scar the skyline, rotten to the grain. Resist, remain, flawless has no face. Resist, remain, rightness has no race. Breaking out through the doors, is there nothing worth saving anymore? Split the pillars of war, is there nothing worth saving anymore? Hope is an ember in the dark. Spark of resistance will come on. Breaking out through the doors, is there nothing worth saving anymore? Split the pillars of war, is there nothing worth saving anymore? Hope is an ember in the dark. Spark of resistance will come on. Hope is an ember in the dark. Spark of resistance will come on. Resist! Echoes from the west, great hammers will fall. Under high rocks all will answer the call. Bring us your arms, pariahs of yore. All faces turned out to war. Exiles of the ash stare through crimson glow. Guards of the north sing their songs of the snow. Bring us the breath of the marsh marshes and rain. Courage is rising again. War will weather the souls of the lost. Stand together, whatever the cost. Shields will falter and many will fall. Time has come for us all to answer the call. To answer the call. Right of summer shores guide the voices of kings. Children of bark, they will tighten their strings. Bring us the wits of the warm southern sands. Clouds over all of the land. War will weather the souls of the lost. Stand together, whatever the cost. Shields will falter and many will fall. Time has come for us all to answer the call. To answer the call.
Желаю добра всем слушающим это сообщение. 各位都好，我们很想念你们，有空请到这里来玩。Hartelijk groeten aan iedereen.
Сърдечни поздрави на всички, които намерят това.
Ik wensen aan allemaal dat dit Boodschap hier kommt. Ich sende hiermit die besten Wünsche an alle Empfänger dieser Nachricht. To all our friends in outer space, may you have a wonderful time exploring.
このメッセージを見つけた人に幸せを祈り申し上げます。
Eu desejo a todos que encontrarem essa mensagem paz, felicidade e amizade.
På vegne av det norske folk vil jeg overrekke en stor hilsning til alle som finner denne beskjeden.
Witajcie, istotów ze światów. Je tiens à saluer amicalement tous ceux qui entendront ce message.
Kami di bumi ingin menyampaikan salam mesra kepada semua. Harap kami akan berjumpa suatu hari nanti.
Alright guys, finally. Oh, let me mute my TV real quick so you guys don't hear double me. But yes, finally we've made it to, or I've made it to Voyager 1 and finally caught up to Danger here. So yeah. About a I don't know, the 25 to half hour flight from the ninth planet of in the Sol system. Yeah, it was quite a distance out here, but we made it. I'm gonna go ahead and wait for it to play its audio message real quick, and then I will give you not only Voyager 1 but Voyager's 2's notes. They're actually practically identical except for the time frames at which they were sent out into space. But yeah, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna mute myself and Deadly again, and we're gonna wait for it to play. Alright guys, so when Deadly decided to leave, he took Voyager with him. I don't know what happened there, but it's gone. Hopefully the Federation doesn't like
broke it.
go after him. Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't think he wanted me to leave.
Apparently not. You made the distance out here, now you are stuck here. I'm just surprised, I didn't expect it to...
Wait, I found it.
It reappeared. What? I'm so confused.
Go touch it, yeah. I like touching it.
Shields offline. Taking damage.
I took your shields. Whoops.
各位都好，我们很想念你们，有空请到这里来。
Right. I'm gonna jump out. Hopefully it doesn't follow me again.
Alright, man. Alright, so I think Deadly's calling it for the night. So, everybody, wish him a good night, and thank you for your help, sir. We all appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and stick around just a bit longer just to play the Voyager 1 and 2 audio messages. But you, sir, have a great night.
Thank you. Is it staying there now? I've jumped out.
It's sticking around for the time being, so I'll take advantage of it. Mute myself here.
Voyager 1. Voyager 1 is an ancient space probe that was used by NASA to study Jupiter, Mars and the outer planets of Sol. It launched on September 5, 1977. In 3301 it was rediscovered 2.1 million LS out from Sol. It's identical to Voyager 2. Both probes include the Voyager Golden Record, which is a recording of sounds and images of life on Earth. It has sounds of nearly all languages on Earth and was designed by a team led by Carl Sagan to communicate with extraterrestrial life. Voyager 2. Voyager 2 is an ancient space probe that was used by NASA to study Jupiter, Mars and the outer planets of Sol. It launched on August 20, 1977. In 3301 it was rediscovered 2.1 million LS out from Sol. It's identical to Voyager 1. Both probes include the Voyager Golden Record, which is a recording of sounds and images of life on Earth. It has sounds of nearly all languages on Earth and was designed by a team led by Carl Sagan to communicate with extraterrestrial life. Earth.
Alright guys, so, that is Sol. This is awesome. This has been a very, very, enjoyable trip, for me personally, because, like I told you guys earlier, I just recently picked up my, a handful of permits trying to, increasing my ranks with, the Federation, and Sol was one of the more recent ones, and I really enjoyed seeing Sol in its all its glory, every single planet, Venus, Venus and the other ring planets. Oh, dude, definitely worth the trip. So, like I said, guys, if you enjoyed the content as far as the notes behind each individual planet that we passed by in Voyager 1 and 2, I highly suggest you guys check out the Wikipedia for Elite Dangerous. There's a lot of good information, a lot of lore that's behind there. It's actually where I get a lot of my information for Elite Dangerous, along with the books and, so on and so forth, which I also highly suggest you guys checking out. And like I said, I will leave the link down below in the description as far as to get to the main page of Elite Dangerous. All you have to do from there is go into the search bar and search what you're looking for, and it should come up. But for now, guys, this will be it. This is the end of the live stream. I hope you guys all had a wonderful time watching this live stream, and I hope you guys learned something new from this. Like I said, this will be a series kind of deal every other week or so on, depending on popularity. We'll go ahead and take a trip to different permit sections or permit systems, and just tour the plant or tour the system as a whole. See and learn anything new that it has to offer us. And you know, I really enjoyed it. You know, learning about the cradle of humanity is definitely, and the birthplace of humanity is definitely something enjoyable. And you know, I highly suggest everybody who plays this game to definitely visit. I mean, from Earth, no reason why not. But for now, guys, this will be it. I want to end off with a slight announcement. So Wednesdays, we are going to be making a permanent CQC, Close Quarter Combat in Elite Dangerous, on Xbox Live. So tomorrow we're going to be kicking that off around 12 p.m. Pacific Standard. Bear with if it's a little on the teeny bit of the late side, but furthermore, on that announcement, this will actually be the last week we do the live streams at 12 p.m. I've been finding it a little bit hard to sync up time zones from everybody that's in PAP that wants to join the live streams. On the Pilot's Ascension program side of life, we have members from all over the globe, UK, Australia, United States, Canada. So I've been trying to make it so that everyone can join to the best of their ability. So Wednesdays, like I said, we'll be adding in CQC as a permanent slot for Wednesday. So if you'd like to join us, feel free to either hop on Elite Dangerous and just cycle through the lobby, and I'm sure you'll be able to find us. If not, you can always message me at FuzzyViz69. That is my gamer tag in Elite on Xbox Live. You can definitely send me a message. I'll also be posting, looking for group posts so that we can get more and new players involved with CQC. That, and it's a fun game title for Elite Dangerous that is kind of in the back burner, and I'd like to help them bring that back because it is a very popular, very fun and enjoyable game type. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow in tomorrow's live stream because yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. We definitely enjoyed it last time. So until next time, until tomorrow, guys, you all have a nice night, nice day, wherever you're at, and fly safe, Commanders.
On the snowy pastures, summer dawns as the winter passes. Celebrations start as the cold air drains. We take a step onto celestial plains. The sun glows on the snowy pastures. Summer dawns as the winter passes. Celebration starts, the cold air drains. Take a step onto celestial plains.